Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you how to play Thor Odinson in this ultimate guide for Marvel Rivals. So Thor is a Vanguard and he works a lot differently than the other Vanguards in this game because he has a unique mechanic where he has the Thor Force, which gives him different abilities, and it has a cooldown of 2 seconds on all of his skills. So I'll be covering the role that Thor should be playing and some general tips and tricks on how to play Thor better. Now, I see a lot of not great Thors in public lobbies. It's just the nature of him. A lot of people are playing Thor like a dive tank. Dive tanks like Venom and sometimes Hulk are a little bit different in this game because they have their own way of self-sustaining. Thor doesn't really have that in this game, unfortunately. So Venom has his ability to generate shields when his health is really low. Hulk also has the ability to make a gamma shield around himself so that they take less damage. Thor doesn't really have that. Thor generates shields here whenever he uses his ability. So you can see here I have 800 health right down the bottom. So whenever you use your special attacks here, you generate Thor Force you use your Thor Force, which gives you that automatic shield. This can be drained down. You can only get a maximum of 800 shield, but it is really nice to have, and it makes Thor a lot stronger. Now, Thor is not a dive tank. You don't want to get in there, especially if you don't have competent healers, because that's just going to spell disaster, as Thor only has 600 health naturally, and can't regenerate health on his own, doesn't have any shields. You have your Mjolnir throw here to be able to get away in an instant if you need to, but you do have to charge this up to be able to use it to its maximum advantage to get the most distance. So what's Thor's role? He's not a dive tank. His objective is to go after healers. So he has this ability here, which can you take them out of the fight. I find Thor pairs really well when you have another tank like Magneto, Doctor Strange, or Groot, who can wall off and provide a lot more of a threat on the battlefield in terms of defensiveness, because what happens whenever you play Thor is people tend to target Thor and take him out because he doesn't have any self-sustaining abilities. You also have the Awakening Rune here, which gives you a nice range attack. As you can see, you got really good range with this, but the big issue with your Thor Force there is you don't have your ability to swing Mjolnir to get out, and you also don't have, you use up all your shields and you can't regenerate your shields then, you'll run out of your Thor Force. So that does make things a little bit tricky because you don't want to run out of Thor Force. Now you also have this ability here, your E, which drops down a little barrier here, and anyone that's hit inside this will give you more Thor Force. So I find with the cooldown you don't run out of Thor Force that much. So it is nice to have, especially if you use like the Awakening Rune, so you can regenerate your shield pretty quickly after that. But the thing is, anytime you use your Awakening Rune there, typically they're going to target you. So that's the unfortunate part about that. So whenever you see a Thor, even if you're playing against a Thor, if they're in their Awakening form, you're likely to just go right at them. So that is one thing. Now, another cool ability you got with Thor is you can do this animation cancel with your hammer throw. So when you attack, you can throw a hammer at the very end just to burst that last little bit of damage. So if you have a duelist that you're fighting here, so the ideal way to start the fight with a duelist would be to start with swing a Mjolnir, take them out into your own little area, and then attack them enough that you can pull up with that hammer throw. So it'll typically it'll be enough to take out most duelists here. So basically swing Mjolnir, take them by themselves, preferably against a wall, and then you're going to do that hammer throw after the 2 seconds is up, because then you get that nice animation cancel and it deals a bunch of extra damage. Another thing too with his Thor Force, so whenever you go into your Awakened Rune form, the range on it's actually pretty crazy. So once we regenerate our Thor Force there, we'll go into it and you can see you actually have really crazy range. So it's around 40 meters of range that you get. So you can see there, that's pretty nice. However, you do run out of your Thor Force and you don't have the ability to swing your hammer. Typically, you want to use the hammer swing most of the time. That's going to be your most powerful benefit. You can drop down this here to be able to regenerate your Thor Force. And as you're swinging your hammer, get that throw in there to get an extra knockout. We also got ourselves a really nice ultimate with the God of Thunder. So you pull this up. So you can move up higher, but whenever you move up higher, you can see there, I didn't get to move vertically or horizontally as much. So whenever you're doing your ultimate, you typically want to just move side to side and don't move up or down, because you only get so much movement speed while you're in this. And you want to grab as many as you can inside here for when you drop back down. So it's not ideal to use this and ascend yourself to get the achievement where you hit 4 of them. It's probably best to do public lobby or even versus AIs with someone like Groot, or someone like Groot who can wall them together with his ultimate, or someone like Jeff who can eat them all up and throw them together for you. So yeah, I'll show off some videos of combat on how to play Thor, but typically, again, you're going to swing Mjolnir and get right in close, take out their healers and duelists. So here it is. As mentioned, Thor is a disruptor, so you want to get in and cause a bunch of chaos. Luckily, we had another tank here. I was paired up with Captain America, who has a nice team up with Thor. But you can see here, this hammer spin's nice for clearing distances because you can get in and get a bunch of damage in quickly with this. So it's great for if you need to isolate their healer, you can go ahead, throw the hammer at them and pin them against the wall, ideally. If you're going against someone like Loki, who has a bunch of different abilities to get away, he can get away, but we were able to take him out. Now, you want to be close as possible. They switched to Thor because they were getting rattled by us, but yeah, you need to be close to deal damage. The hammer throw is not ideal because you can only do it every 2 seconds, so that's not something you want to do. Now, if Loki drops his invulnerability areas, you can actually knock him right out of it. So he was definitely stunned there because he didn't know what to do. If he's in those areas, he can't do damage, so we took him out of it. Now, you can see here, this Thor is in the Thor Force, use the Awakening rune, so they do get a good amount of damage boost, but you do lose out on all your extra mobility. So here, I was able to take him out just because I had the hammer swing, and he was all out of Thor Force. So on to the next phase. We got through the first one pretty good, but we almost lost it all, and I'll show you where. But again, we want to go in and disrupt their tanks and maybe get their healers out of the fight or take them to another area altogether. What's nice is with the knockback from Mjolnir, you can actually take people out of the fight altogether. This was nice. I was able to drop my ultimate there, and I was able to take out their healer with it, and then pin Loki against the wall, but unfortunately he did swap out. So Loki's a tricky matchup for Thor, but if you're playing as Thor, it's nice to have Hela on your team, because Hela will revive Thor, so we had a Hela there. Unfortunately, got hit by Iron Man's ultimate, and here you can see you can take people through walls, and this is a 1v1 Thor fight, and I proved that I was the better Thor until he popped his ultimate, which I made him waste, so that's actually counted at a big win. Unfortunately, I walked onto Cloak and Dagger's damaging ground there, but getting up close and dealing damage is really your #1 thing. So you want to pick a target. Typically, you're going to want to pick a duelist or a healer, but you can also disrupt their tanks. Like getting in and taking their tanks out of the fight like that can work really well too, especially because that knockback is so nice. But the damage you deal is actually quite strong. As you can see there, I was able to get a double kill with just taking out that Wolverine there. And Loki put himself in this invulnerability zone, so unfortunately we couldn't do too much about that, but I tried to take him out. It is difficult, though, with your hammer swings because Thor does move in a straight line. You can't control the curve of it, so that does make things a little bit tricky. Here we were able to take out multiple enemies, and this Wolverine was just being a bit pesky. I had my ultimate saved here, so you want to save it for a good time. I ended up using it there. It was not the greatest use, but that's where the strategic usage comes in. So you want to use your ultimate typically on a control point. So if you got a spot like this that you're trying to hold, that's the best time to use it. So the Jeff there was able to heal me because I got away. But this is the biggest thing that almost threw the game for us. So we were winning at this point. This Jeff, my teammate, ate me and spit me out. So that really did screw things up because we almost ended up losing because of that. So they captured the position, and it went into overtime because that Jeff took us out. And I had to go hard here to get the win. I didn't get MVP, but I have other games where I've gotten MVP as Thor, and I didn't feel like I won it. So typically the MVP, if someone's dealing a bunch of damage, they're going to get it. So here again, we were able to deal with their tank, take them out of the fight. Yeah, get behind the enemy lines and just disrupt them. That's really Thor's greatest asset. So that is a guide to playing Thor in Marvel Rivals. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video.